right, sweet. Flatline MMA podcast episode number 18. The boys are flying. We're almost at 20. I'm Dom. That's Kev. The Flatline boys are back, baby. You guys know the deal by now. Flatline MMA, sponsored by CBD Medic. Click the link below for 10% off your next order. Use the code Flatline10. Use it. Gronk uses it. We use it. You all should use it. Listen, on today's episode, we are going to be recapping the co-main and the main event for last week's fight, UFC Fight Night 166, UFCRaleigh, in the co-main event with Rafael dos Anjos taking on Michael Chiesa. And then the main event, we got the big boys. We had the big boys going at it. We had Curtis Blades taking on the always dangerous, the Dynamite Hands, Junior Dos Santos. So we're going to preview those, talk about a couple things that happened, call-outs after the fight, what's next for these fighters, because then next week we're going to preview the UFC 247 card, so that's going to be a fun one. So, Kev, let's just get right into it. UFC Fight Night 166. Overall, really good card, I think. Ended off with the awesome co-main and main event. So why don't we just start off right with the co-mains. We had the always entertaining, the fan favorite Rafael dos Anjos taking on Michael Chiesa in a welterweight bout that personally shocked me a little bit, just because if you do MMA math, right? Kevin Lee beat the shit out of Michael Chiesa. RDA beat the shit out of Kevin Lee. So what do you think was going to happen in this fight? I had RDA, to be honest, coming into the fight when I first saw it. Honestly, Michael Chiesa getting it done via decision. And overall, just I thought it was a great performance by Chiesa. I think really after the Kevin Lee fight with Chiesa, I think he kind of had a little bit of a slump. He couldn't really find his ways, right? He ended up finding welterweight. I think the 155 cut, he had a ton of trouble getting down to 155. He literally was on the scale and he goes, listen, this is my last fight at welterweight, lightweight. I'm going up to welterweight. And I think, to be completely honest, I think it did wonders for him. So I think he just had the right plan, the game plan against Dos Anjos. He was just able to, bring the pressure. And I think that's what RDA has struggled with in the past, is these pressure fighters. Kind of look at everyone he's faced that he's had struggle with. Colby, right? Kamaru, Leon Edwards, like all those guys, and now Chiesa. So I think the game plan was just brilliant by Chiesa. I thought it was just three, dominant rounds there. So what'd you think about that one, buddy?
Yeah, he looked huge coming into that fight.
Yeah.
Like, he looked double the size of Dos Anjos.
Yep.
And, his striking wasn't spectacular. I think Rafael was beating him up on the feet. And he was hitting him with some really good leg kicks and his boxing and body shots and stuff. But he was just kind of able to take him down at will. And his jiu-jitsu is incredible. So he controlled that whole fight when it came to the mat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the added size, like he looked enormous.
He did.
Just helped out a lot.
Yeah. I think he really just fits into this weight class, right? Like, he was draining himself going to 155, and you could tell. I mean, he was frustrated on the scales a ton of times where he just missed weight. He was getting frustrated. He really is a great fighter, and I'm glad that he kind of found a weight class where he can, not cut as much weight. Really be comfortable in there. And like you said, he dominated that fight. Maybe striking-wise, listen, is he the best striker in the world? No. But if he gets to the ground, he's a scary dude. So overall, just great fight. I picked RDA because I'm a huge RDA fan. I think if you look at that guy's track record of the people he's fought, no one has a better resume. Has he won some? Has he lost some? Yeah, of course. But I respect him because he comes to fight every time. He's such a tough guy to finish. So it's just a huge win for Chiesa. And then, just in terms of RDA, where does he go next? It's more, he's always going to loom in the top 10, top 5. The guy's a grinder. Would I like to see him go back down to 155? Actually, I would. I really would. I think he's a little bit too small for welterweight. Mm-hmm. And I think RDA is a perfect example of why the UFC should make a 165-pound division, because he's a guy that's he went up to welterweight. He had a pretty good run for a little bit, and then he kind of went on that little skid, right? And at 155, he was a former champ, right? He did his thing down there, lost his belt to Eddie Alvarez. But now he's kind of looming where it's like 155 might be too much weight for him to cut, but welterweight, he's a little bit too small. So it's like that 165, RDA he's trouble for anyone at that 165 pound division. So I know Dana said that that's not happening anytime soon, but I would love to see that because I think there's I know we talked about it on one of our episodes. There's so many guys that I think would benefit from that, like a Kevin Lee or like an RDA, like people like that. So he's always super exciting to watch. So whatever he fights next, it's going to be a big name. So, and then Chiesa gets on the mic after he wins. Obviously, great victory. Short, sweet, simple. Colby Covington, I'll see you in the summer, right? Initial thoughts on that. What do you think?
I mean, it makes sense for him to make that call out just because he's not going to be getting a title shot. He just beat the number, I think Anjos was number 5.
He was 5, yeah.
He's number 5. So, yeah, he's got to be going up against somebody higher in the rankings than that with that win. So, he's probably not going to be getting Tyron because he's tough to get to sign a contract. Then you've got Usman's the champ. Masvidal just kind of doing his own thing. So I think that call-out makes sense, but I think that's a tough fight for him.
Yeah. Right when I heard it, I wasn't initially I wasn't like kind of thrilled about it. I was like, all right, that's kind of like random. But then I did think about it. I'm like, okay, RDA's number 5. Who else is there to fight, right? Tyron's kind of booked with Leon. Like you said, Usman and Masvidal might go at it. Masvidal might go with McGregor. Who knows with that whole situation. So it does make sense. But I agree, that's a friggin' tough fight. I think after that Usman fight, I think a lot of people saw Colby, like how tough he is. He can stand and strike. Is it the prettiest striking in the world? Again, no. But he proved that, he can take a punch, right? We all know what he can do on the ground, what he can wrestle. It would be interesting to see Colby and Chiesa on the ground, who can get the better of each other, because Chiesa is dangerous on the ground, man. But obviously we've all seen Colby, what he can do. We all seen what Colby did to RDA. We all see what Colby did to Robbie Lawler. You know what I mean? So Colby's dangerous. And do I like that fight now? Yeah, hell yeah. I'm super interested in that fight. Do I think Colby will take that fight? Hell no. Hell no. He's got too big of an ego to take a fight like that. Like he probably wants to wait for the winner of Woodley, Leon Edwards, or gonna wait for that title shot again. You know what I mean? I just feel like unless Colby cleans up his act and he's done with that whole gimmick that he's doing, his ego's too big for him to like fight a Mike Chiesa. No disrespect to Mike Chiesa. It's just like, I just don't see Colby doing that. You know what I mean? But does it make sense? Yeah. I mean, who else is Chiesa supposed to fight? So I think that's a good one. And I think, obviously the welterweight division has been, I hate to say this, but like, Colby, he always used to wear the MAGA hat. He used to say, make the welterweight division great again. Honestly, it really is. Think about all the exciting fights now. Now with Conor in the mix, dude, welterweight hasn't been this exciting in a while. And you got like, I saw, Kamaru went on to the Joe Rogan podcast yesterday, and he was saying a lot of interesting things. He was just like, Joe was like, if you could fight 3 guys like in order, like who would they be in order of importance to you? And Kamaru was like, I want GSP number 1 for the legacy, all that. Imagine that, GSP coming back, fighting Kamaru Usman, 2 great wrestlers. I mean, that would be huge. Then Kamaru was like, I want Conor, and then I want Jorge. It's just like, that's all in the welterweight division that like could happen. Could the GSP thing not happen? Yeah, probably not going to happen. He's probably not going to come back at welterweight. But with Conor in the mix now, dude, welterweight's exciting. So it's just like, we need to let the Tyron Leon fight play out because that's going to determine probably, the number 1 contender. Obviously, we got to see who Conor picks because I think he holds the cards in the welterweight division. It is kind of sad because it's like Kamaru's the champ, but he's got to wait around for Conor McGregor. It's like crazy to think about that. So, no, I'm super excited to see that division kind of heat up. Obviously, you got some up-and-coming prospects in that division too, but the top 5 is absolutely stacked right now. And now with Chiesa in the mix, man, we got another, durable guy who can make a name for himself. So excited about that.
Yeah, dude, I got the rankings up right here.
Yeah.
They've got Conor ranked number 15 in the welterweight division.
No.
I swear to God, they got him in the rankings in the welterweight division.
I wonder who they booed out.
Then they got him at number 3 for lightweight.
Holy shit. I can't even believe he's ranked in welterweight. I think that's absurd.
That could be a mistake, but his name's right here in the rankings.
Is that on UFC.com?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, that is hilarious. That's the McGregor effect, man. Like,
yeah.
The dude starts his cowboy in 40 seconds, doesn't even have a scratch on him, didn't even breathe heavy, and he's already in the welterweight rankings. So I feel like every day I'm like kind of waiting for some McGregor news. I know, like, you know, he likes to keep us waiting, but even Joe Rogan said it best. He's just kind of like, the UFC disguises this stuff so well that it's like they want you to wonder like what's happening next, especially with like a Conor, with like a superstar like that. So I know we kind of talked about it last time. We both had different opinions on who we wanted Conor to fight, but you know, I would like to see him stay at welterweight, not have to cut weight, stuff like that. So that division's super exciting. So excited to see kind of all that stuff play out, and we really get a defined, like, you know, ranking system. Kind of like, I like how lightweight's been, you know what I mean? Like Khabib's kind of been taking on, you know, one after another, like ranked, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how fighting should be. It shouldn't be like boxing where you pick and choose, right? I know superstars like McGregor, they kind of do what they want, but that's just different. So excited to see that play out. Welterweight's exciting right now. And then moving on, we had the main event at UFC Raleigh. We had Curtis Blades, the outstanding wrestler, taking on Junior Dos Santos, dynamite in his hands. Overall, great fight. Curtis Blades was able to get it done by TKO in the second round. Honestly, surprising fight to me too, because I looked at it, right, and I really thought it was going to be like a wrestling showcase from Curtis Blades. I thought he was but he was having trouble. He was having trouble with the takedown, and I could tell he was getting frustrated. He even came out afterwards and he was like, it was pissing me off that I couldn't get that takedown going. And obviously when you're standing with JDS, it's friggin' dangerous, dude. You don't get in front of those hands. So what were your initial reactions on the fight?
Yeah, I thought Curtis looked great. Like they were kind of feeling each other out in that first round. It was kind of even to me. You know, Curtis had a few takedown attempts that he wasn't able to finish. And the striking exchanges, I think Curtis was even getting the better of him with a few of them. He was hitting him with that right hand, and it looked like he was hurting him. And then, what was it, second round, he ended up finishing that fight?
Second round, yeah.
Yeah, and he just connected with a bomb, and then he just laid it on right after that. But, not the way I would have thought that fight would have went.
No,
you know, I don't even think he got a takedown.
No, he didn't. He was getting stuff. He just couldn't find it. And he even said it afterwards. He was getting frustrated. But the thing with Blades, man, is like he's developed so much. Like I remember when he first came in, dude, and he was this pure just wrestler with like no striking. And DC was obviously calling the fight too, and he was just like, I'm so impressed on how Blades has evolved from this wrestler to like this all around great mixed martial artist. So I think the biggest thing for the heavyweight division is like what's next for like Blades, someone like Blades, right? He just took out Junior Dos Santos. This is obviously a number one contender fight, but kind of like the welterweight division, we need some things to play out first. It's like, yeah, Curtis Blades probably just earned himself a title shot, but it's the matter of when is that title shot. We still need DC Stipe 3. Now we're getting reports that Stipe, his eye is fucked up for life and he might never fight again. Then Stipe comes out and he says the doctors cleared him. He's worried about his eye, and for the rest of his life, he wants to be able to see. He wants someone new, probably taking a dig at Cormier for a couple of the eye pokes, right? So now it's like DC Stipe 3 needs to happen, but Curtis Blades just earned himself a title shot, but at the same time, Francis Ngannou's there. Francis Ngannou's taking on Jairzinho Rozenstruik soon.
Yep.
And Francis beat Curtis twice. So it's like, did Curtis Blades actually earn himself a title shot or not? Because you got Francis in the mix. DC's obviously the number one contender. He's up next. So I don't know. What do you think? How do you think this plays out for Curtis? Just because I feel like he's in such a tough spot right now.
Yeah, it is a tough spot because, business-wise, UFC is going to want to make that Stipe DC fight. That's going to be the biggest one. Right behind that, I think Stipe Ngannou too.
Yeah.
Would probably be the next biggest. But Curtis deserves it. It was past performances. He's been looking better and better and better, and he's the only one in that division that has that level of wrestling that he does. So he poses a pretty good threat to everybody in that whole division.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I know this wouldn't be a fight that like DC would take, but like how good of a fight you think like Curtis versus DC would be? Two like great wrestlers. I know DC's striking has like come a long way, but so is Curtis's. I think that'd be a hell of a fight. Again, I don't think that's a fight DC would take. DC came out on the Ariel Helwani show. He said, I either want to fight Stipe or I'm retiring. Because do I blame him? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
DC deserves the trilogy just because the fans deserve it too. It's going to be the greatest heavyweight trilogy of all time in mixed martial arts. We need to see it. And I get Stipe's thing, and I think Stipe might be a little salty because after DC knocked him out, DC was all about, I'm fighting Brock Lesnar next. I'm getting the money fight. And then they kind of forgot about Stipe. And then since, Brock, said he was going back to WWE, whatever, then DC was kind of like, okay, Stipe, let's do the rematch. So I think this is Stipe just playing some games with DC, being like, okay, you want to forget about me? I'll try to challenge someone new. I think just to get a rise out of DC and stuff. But I do think this is another division where we need to see things play out. So we need to see Francis and Jairzinho. That's going to be a hell of a fight. Both two knockout artists, right? Because then there's decisions to be made. It's, do you make Francis and Stipe 2, which we all know the first one. It was kind of a snooze fest. Stipe just absolutely dominated the entire fight. Do you make Stipe versus DC3, which is, arguably going to be one of the greatest trilogies ever? Or do you just throw blades in there with Stipe ASAP and you say, here's the new contender in the division. Let's just see how this plays out. I don't know. I mean, personally, I know me and you, we saw the Stipe DC1 and Stipe DC2 together. Those are the two awesome fights. DC getting the better Stipe in the first round knockout, and then Stipe with probably one of the greatest comeback fights I've ever seen in my life with those body shots knocking out DC. And I think the fans need to see this. And with these heavyweight fights, man, they're just so fun to watch because it's like you look at a guy like Curtis Blades who you don't think he's going to knock out Junior Dos Santos, and he just knocks him out because that's the kind of power these guys possess, right? Yeah. So I don't know. Curtis was calling for the title shot afterwards. Do I agree with him? Yeah. Hell yeah, I think he deserves it. Do I think he should wait out for it? No, because I think he could be waiting a little bit. So I think the best thing for fighters to do, rather than just like sit out, stay active, be active, fight whoever, you know what I mean? I think that's what Francis did, man. Francis is like, you know what? They're throwing Cain Velasquez at me. Screw it. I'm just going to fight him. I'm going to knock him out. All right, Jairzinho, Rosenstrike, never even heard of this guy. I'm just going to fight him. And then this is going to get me back to title contention. So you got to respect guys like that, man. But other than that, heavyweight division obviously has been, it's just super fun to watch. These guys have such power. I can't even imagine taking a friggin' punch from one of these guys. But, yeah, I mean, overall, the UFCRaleigh card was I liked it, man. I liked it. There's a lot of good fights in there. I had some up-and-comers. Girl fight Angela Hill. She's always fun to watch, right? She's kind of on her first UFC winning streak, so that was nice to see. You got guys like Jamal Hill, Alex Perez. Overall, just good card. I actually really enjoyed it. So, and then we had who else? We have Arnold Allen on there versus Nick Lentz. Did you see the video of Nick Lentz's eye?
No.
Oh man, Nick Lentz came out because there was a couple eye pokes in there. And that was just, he had the eye patch on, he took it off, it was just all red, and you could tell, like, that's a bad eye poke.
Yeah. So
it's like, I can't even imagine what Stipe is going through. He had to get, like, some sort of eye surgery or whatever. So, but overall, just really great card. This weekend, no UFC. They're taking it off, I'm assuming, just because it's, Super Bowl weekend. So, figured they don't want to interfere with ratings there. But And then next week, we will be previewing UFC 247 headlined by Johnny Bones Jones taking on Dom Reyes. So we'll give a more in-depth preview of that. Also on the co-main event on this one, we have Valentina Shevchenko taking on Caitlin Chikagian. So, I mean, right there, that co-main and main event are going to be wild. We'll preview that because I know there's a lot of hype behind Dominic Reyes. I know people think he's the one to take down Jones. He's undefeated. He's big. He's strong. He's got the power. He just knocked out Chris Weidman. And then in the co-main event, we have, Valentina, who's just seems like she's untouchable. People think she ain't losing her belt anytime soon. But Caitlin Chikagian, she's been on a little bit of a tear. She's fought some great opponents. She's definitely deserving of this title. So definitely want to see how that plays out, man. And then we got, Derek Lewis back on that card. So that's going to be fun. So we'll preview that next week. We got a week off from the UFC this week. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And then completely non-MMA related. Obviously, the sports world lost a legend, an icon in Colby Bryant from the Flatline boys. Prayers go out to his family and the families that were in the helicopter. Just awful news. Kobe's a legend. To his daughter, she's a legend too. So from the Flatline boys, prayers from us. Cool. Kev, anything else you wanted to go over?
Nope.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we will get back to you next week. More content, more Instagram content. Our Twitter's blowing up, so tweet at us. Any ideas, anything you want to see us talk about next show. We're trying to do bigger ideas. Our boy Zach will be on next episode. I know you guys all love him. He gets a ton of likes. So listen, we'll come back to you next week. And until next time, Flatline MMA. Peace.